Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today to learn a little bit more about Financial Scan. My name is Peter Kramer, and I'm a senior associate at Nonprofit Finance Fund. And today we're going to share a little bit more information about why we developed the product Financial Scan and how nonprofit leaders are currently using it, as well as walk through a demonstration of the report generating process. So GuideStar is known widely as a leader in nonprofit data, and NFF, we have more than 30 years of experience as a lender and advisor to nonprofits on strategic finance. So this partnership around Financial Scan really brings together our respective expertise in an online financial data platform that offers a more comprehensive analysis than is currently widely available elsewhere. At the outset, it's important to note that Financial Scan isn't a replacement for other forms of financial documents, such as internals and audited financial statements that you might use, but it does provide a consistent and comparable standard for analyzing the financial health of your nonprofit and engaging stakeholders in a dialogue about your financial performance and needs. So bear with me as the slide changes. There we go. At Nonprofit Finance Fund and in developing this with GuideStar, we really believe that financial health provides a foundation on which healthy nonprofit enterprises can be built to deliver high-quality programs that really reflect an organization's mission and ultimately provide solutions to individuals and communities in need. And good, clear financial data leads to better, more informed decision-making about how our organizations operate and deliver services. So we hope Financial Scan will become an industry standard that provides this clear, comprehensive data and acts as a guide, or along with a guide for interpreting it, to help demystify some of the complexities of nonprofit finance. Moreover, it provides an accessible and common format that allows nonprofit leaders to engage their staff, boards, and funders in conversations about recent financial past and future resource needs, and we'll see that in just a minute. But first, why now? We really believe that the sector lacks a common vocabulary and understanding of what a healthy nonprofit looks like. There's also a general lack of agreement on what to measure and why those things matter. Currently, there are a number of different voices out there that focus on some one-size-fits-all metrics like overhead, rather than a broader look at the different vital signs of nonprofit financial health. And we want to help focus nonprofit leaders, funders, and their advisors on the leading indicators of comprehensive financial health. And really, at the end of the day, nonprofits need profits in order to survive and thrive. So we need a more comprehensive look at an organization's entire financial picture that includes things beyond one-size-fits-all metrics that include items like profitability, liquidity, and the balance sheet. And moreover, the expertise of the sector often lies in really delivering programs and services, and engaging deeply with finances is often secondary to that. So Financial Scan helps to provide a quick, clear, and accessible analysis that can add some real value in strategic decision-making processes in the midst of so many competing needs on delivering mission and managing operations and reporting to funders, as well as the like. So a little bit more about Financial Scan. What is it? Who is it for? How do you use it? It is, as I mentioned, a data platform that lives on GuideStar's website and is designed to give a multi-year perspective on nonprofit financial health, as well as provides the opportunity for a side-by-side analysis with up to 5 peer organizations. It's been designed with a number of audiences in mind, putting an analytical filter on publicly available 990 data. And as you can see here from the variety of different audiences, it's also important to mention that we have 2 different pricing models. For nonprofits, we have a 48-hour Nonprofit Express Pass, which provides access during a 48-hour period to run a Financial Scan on one organization, as well as unlimited peer searches for comparison, and all of that is included in the price of $250. We also have an annual subscription available for $2,500, and that provides unlimited reports during the course of a year. And how it works: the Financial Scan automatically pulls data from digitized IRS Forms 990 that are available on GuideStar's website. It's important to note that the Financial Scan is currently only able to pull digitized data from the regular Form 990, not the Form 990 EZ or 990PF. And that gives us with a universe of organizations available in Financial Scan of about 250,000 nonprofit organizations. And I mentioned earlier that organizations are already using Financial Scan. And since launching back in April, we've embarked on a process of getting feedback and speaking with users about how they're using Financial Scan. And so you'll see here on this slide some highlights from those conversations, things like the holistic and accessible presentation of numbers, using the peer comparison as a method of benchmarking against similar organizations, and a mechanism for engaging the board in financial discussions. And one organization told us a little bit more about how they're using the report. As you can see here, this organization is really using Financial Scan as a communication tool. The executive director shared it with their board to revisit recent financial dynamics and performance, and the organization also uses it to communicate with others like prospective board members about the organization's track record and why it has been as it has. Interestingly, they've already had the opportunity to make some decisions about needs for an augmented cash reserve to better manage the cash flow process as a result of looking at Financial Scan. And this is just one example of how an organization has already made use of Financial Scan. So before we take an online tour of Financial Scan, let's pause for a moment and look at what's inside the report. It's both an online interface and a PDF report, and is organized, as you see here on the slide, with an organizational dashboard that highlights up to 5 years of key financial trends and metrics for the organization that's selected. This piece is available online and also in the PDF report. Then we have graphs and explanatory text that drill down on some of the trends and dynamics in these different categories that you see: expenses, revenue, profitability, balance sheet health, and liquidity. There's also explanatory text that corresponds with these graphs and offers some questions to prompt discussion. This piece of the Financial Scan is only available in the PDF, the full PDF report. And the last piece is the peer comparison dashboard, which allows an organization to compare with up to 5 peer nonprofits selected by the user. That piece is available in the online interface and also in the PDF report. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at Financial Scan in action. So if you'll bear with me for one moment, I'll go ahead and pull that up, and we'll walk through a live demonstration. So you'll notice first on this search page that there's a number of different fields which you can use to select an organization. If you're running it on yourself, you can likely go here to the keywords section and type in an EIN number or the organization name. If we don't know who we're looking for, we could search by some of these other criteria as well. So I know that we're going to be looking for today Boys and Girls Clubs. So I'll go ahead and put in that. And I'm going to use some of these filters just to show the different capabilities of Financial Scan. So we're going to look in Arizona, and I'll go ahead and pull up Phoenix. So with just a few pieces of information and a click, we can go ahead and find our search results here. If the organization that we were looking for did not pop up to the top like it has here, I know I want to use this Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Phoenix, we could also filter the results by these different criteria that you see on the right-hand side of the page. I'm going to select the Boys and Girls Club of Metropolitan Phoenix. And doing so will generate the financial health dashboard in the online format. Now, when it comes up, you'll notice that we've organized the financial health dashboard according to 5 different chapters of analysis that Nonprofit Finance Fund uses when typically looking at an organization's financial health. Up here at the top, you'll see some of the vital information provided on GuideStar in terms of the mission statement and the address. And as we scroll down, you'll see that the dashboard is organized by both the income statement and the balance sheet. and each of these 5 chapters that I mentioned earlier have scroll-over information that gives a little bit more of NFF's perspective on what to look for when analyzing these 5 years of data. You'll see we have 5 years of GuideStar 990 data side by side, and we look at different indicators here, such as expenses before depreciation, its growth rate, personnel, as that's usually the largest cost associated with the nonprofit's operations. And then in the revenue section, we look at revenue on a percentage basis in terms of its sources. And as many of you know, revenue is not broken out on the Form 990 by level of restriction. So our total revenue here includes both unrestricted and restricted dollars. However, when we look at profitability, we wanted to portray an unrestricted perspective. So to calculate profitability in a given year, we go to the balance sheet and take the end of the year balance of unrestricted net assets and subtract the beginning of the year balance of unrestricted net assets to give a clearer picture of the organization's performance on an unrestricted basis. On the balance sheet, we look at different components like cash, investments, property and equipment here, and then accumulated depreciation, which is important for organizations who have facilities. We also look at the composition of net assets, and down here at the bottom have 3 different indicators of liquidity that include months of cash, cash and investments, and months of estimated unrestricted liquid net assets. And when we look at months, it assumes a perspective of how long could an organization continue to operate if it only used its cash reserves or its cash and investments or relied solely on its estimated unrestricted liquid net assets. Another important feature on the financial health dashboard is the definitions and formulas link right here that shows you not only definitions of key terms, but also calculations behind each one of the indicators that you see in the financial health dashboard. You also have the ability to print just a PDF of this dashboard separate and apart from the comparables and the full report that we'll get to in just a minute. So next in the process of generating the report, we'll go ahead and select peer organizations for comparison. Here I'm going to search again by Boys and Girls Club. And from looking at our group in Phoenix, I know that I want to look at organizations that are somewhat close to the same size. So I'm going to say organizations who have expenses of $5 million, between $5 million and $10 million. And a number of different search results come up. And I'm going to go and select 5 organizations here against which to compare. Thanks for your patience as I select the peers, and we'll proceed to the comparables analysis now that we've got 5 different organizations to look at in comparison to the Boys and Girls Club of Phoenix. And this peer comparison function is where we've heard from a number of nonprofits that there's some real added value from Financial Scan in benchmarking against organizations who are in similar work, in a similar geography, or in a similar mission area, to just get a sense of what other kinds of choices organizations have made, how their finances are reflected in their Form 990, and get a sense for how my organization, how the organization selected here compares to those. So at the top of the page, you'll notice we have a key for our comparables analysis, and the selected organization from Phoenix is highlighted in this gray. So you can look down and see our corresponding highlighted organization here in gray. And we have abbreviations for each of the other organizations to save space here and give us an idea of who we're looking at. We also have a median value on the far right side, average in the case of revenue, but it gives a sense of the full group and what is the median value for that full group. So here you'll see many of the same indicators from the financial health dashboard, but shown in such a way that you have a side-by-side comparison to understand the different choices and dynamics at play for various organizations according to a geography or a subsector. Again, the definitions and formulas link is here in case a user forgets how we calculate profitability, for example. And you can print just a single page from a single page PDF from this comparison analysis as well. Lastly, I'm going to generate the full report, and this takes just a few more seconds, so if you'll bear with me. And as I mentioned earlier, the benchmarking piece as well as the communication aspect that we heard from one of our nonprofit organizations who provided feedback really have been the added value for nonprofit users of Financial Scan. The ability to just look at clear data organized by those in a comprehensive way that shows really the full health of an organization instead of relying on one metric really has been a helpful aspect for the users of SCAN. All right, so it looks like our full report has printed. So it'll pull up here in PDF form. And again, the Nonprofit Express Pass option for using Financial Scan offers an organization 48 hours to go into Financial Scan, run the report, and run as many peer organizations as are relevant or interesting to you during that 48-hour period, all for $250. So here in our PDF report, you'll recognize the financial health dashboard from the online environment. But then we also have a number of different graphs here that drill down into the dynamics and represent visually over time how the organization has performed according to these different chapters of expense, revenue, profitability, balance sheet, and liquidity. And as I said, there's narrative here that shares some of nonprofit finance funds' perspective on what to look for and what really matters when considering something like expenses. Also down here at the bottom are different questions to help prompt discussion at the board level or among staff, or help engage in a conversation with funders about your resource needs. So I'll just flip through a few different graphs here that give a perspective on the different aspects of financial health. A note on expenses that we saw earlier, you'll notice that we don't show expenses broken out by program, general administration, and fundraising. And that's been through our practice here at Nonprofit Finance Fund, really seeing that there aren't standards for how to classify those items. And so comparison on those is often not meaningful. So instead we look at a natural classification of expenses that you saw in this earlier graph of expense categories. So back to our various graphs. You'll recognize many of these indicators from the dashboard again, but here they're shown visually and again with the narrative text that can help prompt some discussion. And lastly, our liquidity indicators graph, which is then followed by the comparables analysis. And currently the appendix for the report is that the definitions and calculations of all the key terms here in the graph that comes with it as well. So hopefully that helps give you an idea of how to generate a report, what it can tell you, how folks are already using it. And with that, we have a few minutes for questions, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to Pam.
Thanks, Peter. A couple of additional questions are rolling in right now. The first few had to do with the peer analysis, and I think I can help with this. Right now, you can compare your nonprofit to up to 5 peers. 5 is the limit, but keep in mind, if you are using that 48-hour express pass, you can run as many peer comparisons as you want. So in theory, you could run your organization against your first 5 peers, then go ahead and run a different iteration of the report against the next 5, etc. So you do have some flexibility there to build out your peer comparison profile during your 48-hour window. Let's talk about data freshness. Here's a question about IRS postings are at least 1 fiscal year behind. How do you measure to the most current period? That's a great question, and honestly, it's one that we're looking to improve somewhat creatively. So right now, it can take anywhere from 4 to 14 months from the date that an organization files their official form with the IRS for that data to actually matriculate to GuideStar, and there's a number of reasons for that. Some are within our control and some are without, and one of the biggest ones is obviously the ability to file for extensions, and there's some other variables in the mix as well. So we define the most current period as the most currently available digitized data that we've got. Just as an example, some of 2011 data, actually most of 2011 data, should be digitized and available in FinScan here in the next month to month and a half, and that's just on average how things are flowing right now. We are embarking on some pilot programs to look at ways to speed that up and expedite that where a nonprofit could actually provide us data directly. So stay tuned, there's more to come on that. But thank you for that question. Okay, the questions are rolling in now, so bear with me. I'll try to consolidate these as best I can. Easy data. Right now, we do not include easy data in the Financial Scan product. That is something we are looking at doing in the future. Obviously, it would require us to retool some of our metrics and formula and data display, and we have not gotten to that yet. So we don't have a time estimate on that. It's something we are researching vis-a-vis some other priorities and product improvements.
Pam, while you're looking, I got a question here directly to me that asked about the peer comparison, and the question was, is that the median value there just for the 5 peers and the selected organization, or is it for all organizations that fall within the selected parameters? And the answer is that the median value is just for the 5 peers and the selected organization, and we do hope to in the future be able to add a more aggregate comparison of a particular subsector, or selecting key criteria to compare against a larger group, but currently the median is just for the 5 peers and the selected organization.
Cool, thanks, Peter.
You bet.
A question about looking for peers. Can we look for peers based on metrics other than financial ones? For instance, size of staff or geographic location. Peter, can you go back to the peer advanced search screen,
Sure.
please? Yeah, that's a great question. The answer is absolutely. Most of our early adopters so far have been taking advantage of those expense, revenue, and asset search fields. However, you can also look for peers based on state keyword, as Peter did, just typing in Boys and Girls Clubs, as well as NTEE code. We are looking at a couple of additional fields to include in there, one of which might be number of employees. But for now, thanks, Peter, you can see the parameters that you have to work with. City, state, NTEE code, and then again those expense, revenue, and asset parameters. Can we receive this data in an Excel spreadsheet? Wonderful question. Honestly, that's probably the topmost item on our list of future enhancements. Today you cannot, but that is something that we've received overwhelming feedback on, and we recognize its utility and necessity in the future. Don't have an estimated time on that yet, but something we're looking at. Let's see. $250, yes, that is the price for the Express Pass. And again, the way that works is you can generate one financial health dashboard on your selected organization and as many different peer comparisons as you would like to. The way the purchase process works, I see a question in here about data. For some folks that have vacillated between a Form 990 and an EZ and back and forth, how can you figure out if we have enough data to run a report? Part of the checkout process, we actually ask you to enter your organization, and we kind of run a pre-screen to be sure that we have enough data on your organization before you buy. So the second step there, you'll get a return based on the organization you select, and we'll let you know that, yes, you've got the green light, we can generate a report, or we'll let you know that, you know what, we don't have 5 years of data for you, but we've got 3 or 4, or whatever the situation might be. So that's part of the purchase process once you select your organization for analysis. And I think that is it. Are you able to do an aggregate report of 74 affiliates of a national nonprofit? Rebecca and Peter, help me out on this one. I think the answer is no. You could run the report on the parent organization and on the affiliates if we have information on them. That sort of aggregate reporting would probably be some custom work that NFF could certainly help you out with.
That's correct, Pam. It's not we would just be able to see the parent organization, but on a customized basis, Nonprofit Finance Fund can run larger cohort analyses of peer organizations.
Yeah, thanks, Paulette. So feel free to reach out to Peter directly if that's something that might interest you. And I believe that's it. We're at 1:31. We hope this is really just the beginning of a dialogue with everyone. And if you have questions after today's session in the next week, next month, next year, feel free to reach out to us directly. If you have product ideas, we're starved for those, product feedback as well. So thanks for your time today, and really appreciate you carving out part of your day to spend with us. Thanks, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.